top 10 films of the year with me and not my usual co-host, but of course, the honorary co-host, Kira Midhead. How you doing?
Hello.
We are here with the top 10 films of the year, but also we have 5 honorable mentions each. This is going to be a long, meaty video that really talks about some pretty banging movies. This is a really good year for movies, I gotta say.
Yeah, it started kind of weak, and then like John Wick 4 was Creed 3 and John Wick 4 were like the lights for the longest
I
time.
remember that March era was just awesome. Back to back with those two. Come on. All right, well, honorable mentions. I say, because they're really just 11 through 15 of our top of the year. Let's start with the 5th best honorable mention. Why don't you go first as my lovely honorary co-host?
Okay, my 5th best is A Haunting in Venice.
Oh.
I just love that we're in a period where we can have both Kenneth Branagh making his Poirot movies and Rian Johnson making Benoit Blanc.
I fully agree with you. It's not in my number 5, but I fully agree with the idea that they can coexist because they're two very different types of movies, even though they revolve around very similar like tropes and stuff. I loved Haunting in Venice, though I think it's probably my least favorite of the 3. I still like it, which says something about how good those 3 movies are.
I put it over Death on the Nile because I've discovered no matter which version of that story I watch, I just don't like it all that much, really.
It's understandable.
Yeah, it's just really cool, and I think I saw it in an Atmos wired theater. So every time the little ghost kid voices did anything, they would like go like behind your head. It was like, ooh.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, no, I remember that. The climax is pretty interesting with the ghost stuff. I like that a lot.
And I like just the contained nature of it, how it's in this one like kind of shit house that's falling apart the whole movie.
Yeah, I appreciate that like it doesn't like go bigger and crazier for sequels. That's nice.
Especially after the very obvious CGI in Death on the Nile. But yeah, I just thought it was a cool little movie. The twists were actually, some of them were pretty surprising. And yeah, it was a cool little gothic mystery.
I fully agree. That's why it's not anywhere near my top 5 honorable mentions. It is, of course, not on the top 10 either. Honorable mention number 5 is The Holdovers with Paul Giamatti. I really like this movie. I think
I love it. It's higher on mine.
Yeah, that's right. It's super good. It's a great movie, and when I started watching it, I got like 20 minutes in, and I was like, I mean, it's fine, but I'm not like crazy over it. But man, it wins you over with these really powerful characters, this really heartfelt story, really, really well written. And I was like, what else is this kid from? Literally nothing else. He was discovered from like theater.
He was discovered from a drama club.
Literally, like.
Yes.
Whenever like people are in drama clubs and like aspire to be in Hollywood, this is like literally the biggest success story of all time. A studio literally went up and was like, "Oh wait, well, you should probably be in a movie," and then he was.
And there's already buzz for a Best Supporting Actor nomination.
That would be insane.
I don't think he has a prayer of winning, considering how competitive it is this year.
I mean, getting nominated itself would be like the biggest honor. Let's flash back a year ago. Or before this movie was like a thing at all, this kid was not dreaming that he'd get like a freaking Oscar consideration the next year. That's crazy. But yeah, it's really good. It's a great story. I love The Holdovers. And it is honorary mention number 5.
My honorary number 4 is Creed 3.
Oh, baby.
It's awesome. It's awesome. I just feel like it kind of rushed the end of the second to the beginning of the third act a little bit, because it feels like Jonathan Majors just kind of disappears from the movie for like 20 minutes.
Yep, that's understandable.
But it's really good. And one thing I'm liking about the Creed series is how all 3 films are kind of distinct from each other. And Michael B. Jordan directed the shit out of this movie.
He sure did. He really did.
And I like how Creed has like how Adonis Creed has like a very distinct arc across the trilogy too now. It's just really good, and Jonathan Majors, it's the last time he'll ever be in anything. So.
I didn't want to say it, but yeah, that's a shame because, I mean, look, strictly speaking, as a working professional, Jonathan Majors is insanely talented as an actor, and I love seeing him and his acting talents in films. Maybe not necessarily his actions off screen. But no, I'll bite my tongue on Creed 3 because I am going to speak about it very soon. My number 4 is She Came to Me, which is the Peter Dinklage film with Anne Hathaway. It is a...
Oh, yeah, I think I heard that title. I heard about it a while back.
Oh, it's a great movie. It came out of nowhere. It was just next on my queue. I was just going through the movies like, oh, I guess I'll watch this next, and I'll kind of go on my phone sometimes. It really pulls you in. Like, it's a really great, excellent drama, and I was like, wow, this is like way better than it deserves to be. It sets up things you don't realize it's setting up, so when it pays them off, like Anne Hathaway as a therapist with the final session with that guy who keeps fantasizing about her, that final session is just a hilarious payoff
Oh,
to that. And
that just gave me wicked flashbacks to your Passengers video.
no, well, it's funny because like this is what Passengers should be. This makes way more sense. No, this is a fantastic movie. Came out of nowhere, and I was really kind of blown away by how good it is. And that like an example of that is just one little example, but like the movie does that on every level. So like every character gets like their moment, whether they deserve it or not. Like they get what's coming to them or they might not, and that might be the point of the saga. But like there's so much happening, and just by the end you're just like, wow, that really took me on a ride, and I would 100% watch this again any day of the week. It is such a great movie. And Peter Dinklage, man, he's he's so freaking talented. Like I feel like he's so dynamic because every movie he's in, I'm like, damn, I haven't seen that element of him yet. I haven't seen him do that yet, and he keeps pushing what he think or what you think he can do. He's never typecast as like one thing, which is really cool. So what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Blue Beetle.
Oh, right, that came out this year.
Yeah, it's just super fun. It's a nice little refreshing, fun little movie, and I'd say it's the best DC movie of the year of the ones I've seen.
I'm trying to think. I mean, yeah, it's this or Flash for me. I really like Flash, but yeah,
Flash was actually better than I was expecting,
that's what everyone's been saying, or worse.
but worse. We're not talking about Flash here, but no, this was my favorite DC movie, and I don't really care about Blue Beetle as a character either.
Me neither.
It's just a movie that really just kind of worked on its own terms and was pretty cool, and it just got hurt by the fact that it was dumped out in a year where every movie is bombing.
Yep, especially every DCEU movie because the audience has just given up.
Yeah, the DCEU is just dying.
It's now dead. Yay! Aquaman 2 came out. We're done.
Yeah, still haven't seen Aquaman 2.
Yeah, neither is the rest of the world, dude. Look up the box office.
And I saw The Marvels.
That's a low bar. Yeah, it opened even lower than that. That's crazy. That's crazy that it even went. But whatever. Yeah, no. So Blue Beetle is awesome.
Yeah, the main guy did a great job. And for a movie that was intended for streaming initially, it looks really good. And apparently Batgirl did not look that good.
No. If this Blue Beetle is what they saved, oh god, what did they cancel with Batgirl? Because I'm sure it was horrible.
There's two they saved from them that went from Max to theaters. I'll talk about one later.
I'm sure you will. But for now, my number 3, I don't know if you know this, but Creed 3 is so good. You're right, Adonis has this clear arc, this clear path he's heading down. Jonathan Majors is insanely talented as an actor, nothing else. And I really appreciate Michael B. Jordan's directing. This is his debut. This is way good for your debut. I guess he's been in the industry for a while. He's done a bunch of Creeds so far. He's got the tricks of the trade and stuff, but even as a debut,
worked with a ton of people.
He sure has, and even as a debut, it's impressive. And man, not for nothing, but like seeing him and Drago just kind of be boys now. Like they're just like, oh, you are you good enough now? You're well enough to beat you. Like that's just, oh man, that's the best. Just because we've had the Creed 2 of them being enemies the whole time and literally almost trying to kill each other. Now to see their relationship progress, I bought that. I ate that up. So that's the best thing ever.
And I will say, I didn't miss Rocky.
Right. I was skeptical.
Even though
yeah.
I have to say it does suck why it happened in real life. But
yeah, it looks a lot like Stallone was in the wrong. Like he just kind of started calling out everyone behind the scenes instead of like just talking to them or whatever.
Although Stallone's Rocky 7 pitch that he wants to do didn't sound very good. So.
Oh, what was it? In Cliff Notes.
He like finds like this young like Mexican boxer or something and is like training him. I forget exactly what it was, but it just sounded like Rocky 5 again, just different.
That sounds vaguely like Rocky 5, yeah.
And vaguely like Creed 1.
Yeah, except Creed 1 was relevant because it was Apollo's kid, so it made sense.
Yep.
But whatever. So what's your number 2?
My number 2, this has stayed here. We already did a video talking about this. It's The Last Voyage of the Demeter.
We sure will. We'll keep it brief because, man, have we said a lot about that already.
Really, I actually really liked it. Ending was kind of silly. Other than that, good.
I will say we're nowhere near editing it, but we have recorded the commentary. It is a time.
It is already. It's a better time than last year's Monster Thon contribution was.
God almighty, man. That's so good. I'm going to move on to the next one. My number 2 honorable mention is Air. This movie was in my top 10 for so long, just like the movie above it. But
yeah, same.
It was so good. It's just so refreshing. It kind of takes the conventions and cliches of a biopic, but it somehow Ben Affleck keeps finding ways to keep things like exciting and fresh with his directed movies, even if they're like simplistic like story tropes and stuff. He still finds a way to make it like really fun and exciting. It is the second best movie of the year like this. I think Blackberry is the first. um,
It's the only one I've actually seen so far.
Fair enough. But yeah,
Because there was a lot this year. There was Blackberry, Tetris, Flaming Hot.
I was skeptical about not showing MJ at all on screen, but having his mom Viola Davis be a big part of the story, I think that helped a lot, and that really, man, it is a really cool backstory to how the freaking Nike shoe was invented with the Jordan logo.
It's just a really cool. Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, he made you really root for these guys who are trying to make the shoe deal work.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's just a fucking shoe deal, and it's the most like suspenseful thing ever, and it's awesome. What's your number one honorable mention?
My number one is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Wow. Okay.
It goes hard in every area. It's a great sequel, fantastic movie, but it has that part one problem.
Mm-hmm. Don't you tell me about it.
This one has it pretty bad because it ends on this huge cliffhanger, and we don't even know when the next one's coming out because they took it off the release schedule. So it's like, fuck, that just hurts it more. That's why it would be several slots higher in my ranking.
I agree.
If it wasn't for that.
I fully agree. Like Joaquin, it's either at like 1, 2, or 3. It's like one of his top ever, and I'm like, man, I can't stand that. Like maybe when the second one comes out, it's like Dune, right? When the second one comes out, maybe I'll go back and appreciate it as one big story like Lord of the Rings. But as it stands, I can't just have an episode of a TV show that ends and cliffhangs for next week. I can't.
With Dune, he at least made progress at the end of Dune.
That's fair enough.
Across the Spider-Verse literally ends with, oh my god, what's going to happen?
We're stuck in this crazy situation.
And with Dune, I at least had the satisfaction of going like, so I've read the book, so I'm like, okay, so it's either going to end here or it's going to end here, but there's not enough book after this point to make a second movie, so it's going to end there. And I'm like, yes, I'm right.
Yep, that makes total sense. My number one honorable mention is also actually a Marvel film, but it's by a different studio. It is, of course, Guardians 3, which it was number 10 for a while, and it just bumped down. This is like kind of number 11, the first honorable mention. Man, Guardians 3 is so great. James Gunn.
So great, it's higher up on my list.
That's fair. Like James Gunn, man, I feel like he really can do no wrong as a director. I do not like the Scooby-Doo movies. He's fantastic.
He didn't direct those.
He didn't. That's why I said as a director. He just wrote them. But yeah, no, the Guardians saga, all 3 of those movies hit. Even 2. People are like, oh, 2 isn't as good as the other. I think 2 is fantastic. I think 2 is awesome. I think all 3, for different reasons, hit so hard. Like the first one is refreshing because it was the first one to kind of do that, and now every movie tries to be Guardians. 2 kind of expands on like keeping a family together instead of bringing them together for the first time, and then 3 is like pitch perfect send off for these characters. Like I have no like, oh, I would have changed X, Y, and Z. No, this is how it's supposed to be. This is just, oh man, the villain, the themes of like fixing what doesn't need to be fixed, even though it's not broken, and they breaks it to do like. You could just sit here and think about this movie, and it's just so freaking good. And it's a big, dumb superhero movie, and it still has all these really interesting themes and layers, and it's just, man, when people say there's superhero movie fatigue, no. There's generic movie fatigue. This is not generic. It is so fresh, and it is so good. And I'm glad that it's like the one superhero movie that like made all kinds of money this year, because everything else bombed.
Yes, and I don't have like any like great hate for like Quantumania or the Marvels. They're fine.
I think they're both fine, yeah.
But putting Guardians 3 next to them makes them look worse.
Oh, big time. So those are honorable mentions. Now we're going to get into the big boys, the top 10 films of the year. Oh boy, what is your number 10?
My number 10 is another part 1. It's Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Oh, this is higher on mine.
Yeah, this is such a this series, aside from 2, is such a great just action movie series. Although the first one's more of a thriller. Mm-hmm. But it's just so consistently good outside of that one blip. And ever since Christopher McQuarrie took over, they've just been amazing. It just does everything the other movies did just as well. My only kind of gripe with it is that I think the villain they introduce in this, okay, not only is it kind of funny that the main villain is AI in a year where nobody would shut up about AI.
And it was kind of written before AI kind of popped off. Like ChatGPT, I think this story and script and villain predates ChatGPT's first iteration.
They started shooting early 2020.
Oh wow, that's super long ago. Never mind.
This was one of the first movies to shut down because they were in Venice.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's what this is one of the. This was like the first time where it was like, oh shit, this is actually serious.
Yep. Yeah. Wow, that's crazy.
And it's but the main human villain in the movie, they barely touch on who he is, and I would have liked just a little bit more of that because even though this is a part one, the way they kind of wrap it up, it still feels conclusive to a degree.
Yep.
Like there's more to come, but they end on a fucking bang where they basically just lift the sequence from Uncharted 2.
Yeah. No, I love that movie, and I'll talk about it soon. More.
It's just really cool, and I hope part two is really good.
You're damn right. My number 10 is a Martin Scorsese epic Killers of the Flower Moon. I think
That's coming
it's
up.
coming up. Yeah. No, I think this is an excellent movie. I have little to no criticism except one really big thing. It's the fact that it's a great assembly cut, but I'm still waiting on the actual cut because it's way too long. There's so many scenes that just reiterate the points of other scenes prior. And yeah, sure, as a slow burn, it works. Like The Irishman is 3.5 hours. I wouldn't touch a minute. It is great as its current length. Like, I wouldn't really change the runtime of that. This, oh my God. You could cut almost an hour out. Every minute you cut out, it would improve until it gets to a certain peak point. There's just way too much here.
And there is still stuff they cut.
Dude, why even shoot this much?
There was apparently more Brendan Fraser on the cutting room floor.
The only reason I keep harping on it is because it's really my only criticism is how long it is. Everything else
I only
is great.
I only started feeling the length like in the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, like the last hour or so it started to kick in, which is towards the end because it's so many hours. But
Yes.
but yeah, no, again, it's really my only problem. Everything else is pitch perfect. Leo is amazing. The directing is obviously it's Scorsese. How is it anything other than amazing? The supporting cast, freaking oh my God, Jesse Plemons, fantastic. And I don't remember her name. She's a kind of a new actress, but like the main girl,
Lily Gladstone.
Lily Gladstone, she's amazing. I hope she gets nominated for all the stuff that you should get nominated for.
Yeah, it's really good. I'll talk about more later. So my number 9 is The Killer. I was looking forward to this because it's a new David Fincher movie is always an interesting prospect.
Yep.
I wish I could have seen it on the big screen, but Netflix has apparently just given up on that completely. I didn't really know what exactly it was going to be other than just like the basic premise of it being like a hitman chasing people down. It was actually a lot funnier than I thought it would be.
It was pretty great, yeah.
Because I love how the opening, it's like a pretty long, like almost 20-minute monologue of voiceover from Michael Fassbender at the beginning.
It is. I should hate it, but I don't. It's great.
It works because it's him going on. It's actually pretty compelling, but it's him going on and on about how all the stuff you have to do to be like the best of the best in the Hitman world, blah, 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 blah. And then he immediately fucks up as soon as the voiceover ends.
He immediately fucks up.
And that happens multiple times throughout the movie where he's like, going quiet. And he like
I know.
kicks the door down like a dumbass.
Because of what you're talking about, the kind of contradiction of this guy is why it's even higher on my list. I love this stupid movie.
Yes, it's so good. It's mainly an exercise in style, but it's such great style.
It's great style. I'll talk about it later. But love that movie. Glad it's your number 10. My number 9
My number 9.
Was that your... Oh, right.
It also
yeah.
has a great fist fight in it.
Oh my God, that apartment fist fight. Holy
Yeah.
crap. Yeah, no, my number 9 is a movie with way more fistfights. It's called Thunivu. It is a film from Tollywood. It is so stupid good. Here's the thing. The premise is a group of people are trying to do a heist on a bank. It's like the biggest bank in India or something. It's called Your Bank, which is hilarious. And they do the heist. When they start the heist, and they have like an informant in the police who's like corrupt and helping them out with the heist, when they do the heist, a gangster is already there with his team to heist it. So it's like a heist off, but the guy who's like the informant who's corrupt is preventing the police from getting involved because he wants his heist to work. So he's like, oh, no, it's probably not important. It's probably a false alarm. Don't send anybody. So these two heist teams are just in this bank. No police are coming, and they're out heisting each other. That's just the first hour. Then it goes crazy.
How many hours are there?
2.5-ish, but it's like the first like act kind of. And it sounds like it's just crazy dumb fun. It so is, but that last act with explaining the backstories, which you didn't even know you wanted, why people are there, why that guy was in the bank in the first place, what the CEO of the bank was doing to be relevant at all, and then highlighting the way that companies are legally allowed to screw so many people over just financially, and the way that all comes back to them and how they end it. Oh man, that just catapulted the quality of this movie from like a fun, crazy Tollywood time with like turn your brain off to turn your brain on, make you think fun, crazy action. And that's very rare to achieve, especially with like Bollywood stuff. This is even better than RRR, I think. And I love that movie. That movie's really high for me. But Dune is fantastic. It's solid at my number 9 right now.
All right. So my number 8 is going to be Evil Dead Rise. This
Okay.
was the other movie that was supposed to be on HBO Max, and they bumped it up to a theatrical. And what's really funny is there was a movie I had on my anticipated list for last year, which was a new adaptation of Stephen King's Salem's Lot. It got kicked out of its September release at the last minute for like no stated reason. Got pushed to April of this year, and then when they decided to move this to theaters, they took it off the schedule completely and gave it to this movie.
Oh, wow.
And that's one of those, like, I'm anticipating it, but I'm kind of dreading it movies because the Stephen King adaptations of late have not been very good.
Yep.
But Evil Dead Rise, I'm a big Evil Dead fan, have been since I was a kid. This movie is really good. It takes the story out of the cabin in the woods. And it's set in like an apartment building that's like being dismantled, and it's focused on like this family, so you have like fucked up stuff happening around the kids, which makes it even more twisted. And the woman who plays the mother who gets possessed by the demons that are summoned by the Book of the Dead, she does an incredible job
Yeah.
playing this scary, like twisted character throughout the movie. And it's just so much fun. Like the Evil Dead movies have always had like some very creative stuff in them. This one follows suit. And it does something really cool because the last movie they did was technically a remake, but they now kind of have retconned it so that the movies all exist in the same continuity and there's no contradictions.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yep, and it's just a really well executed, well crafted horror film. It's a great. All 5 movies are actually pretty watchable. The continuity can get a little screwy in them, but this one is for a 5th movie, like 40 years after, over 40 years after the original. It's shockingly really goddamn good. So
I mean, the trailer looked fantastic, but I never got a chance to see this one. I'll probably have to watch it before the year ends, but it looked really good. I think I've seen them all. It's funny, I watched Evil Dead, the not a remake, but the later sequel. Then I watched the original trilogy, and then
Oh, yeah?
I planned on watching Evil Dead Rise, but I never got around to it. But yeah, no, the trailer looked amazing. I'm really excited to check it out at a certain point. I'm glad it's this high on the list.
now I saw back when there was still just the trilogy. I saw them in reverse order as a kid.
That's really funny. I mean, that kind of still works. All right, so number 8 for me is a film that I knew would be good, but when I watched it, I didn't know how good. And it is Blackberry. And this movie is so freaking unexpectedly amazing because I gained respect for the company Blackberry. They say what you will about the, big keyboard of buttons, which is just unworkable in a modern like idea, but they literally revolutionized the smartphone. Like had they not existed, it would have set iPhones back years. They wouldn't have gotten out on time. They wouldn't have been able to do what they did. iPhone built their success on the backs of what BlackBerry was able to do with linking all these devices onto one server, having them individually be their own servers. All this crazy shit. I didn't even think that I would learn this kind of stuff, but it's really interesting. And on top of that, besides the backstory of real life, you have really interesting characters like the evil CEO guy who starts out as just like an asshole CEO on the good guy side. He goes to the evil side. There's no sides, but like it's great to see like this character like kind of fall from grace. And meanwhile, you have Jay Baruchel of Dragon fame. He's there, and you see him grow more confident as the movie goes on, but also more scared because of what's coming. And then the iPhone launch happens and BlackBerry just crumbles. And oh man, it is the rise and fall of one company over the next like 20 something years. Like, you see it all the way up almost to modern day. It's really interesting. And the way they do the title cards for the years, they have it typed out on a relevant device from that year. So like in the 2000s, it's like Microsoft Word and like Times New Roman.
That's cool.
It's cool. It's interesting. A lot of time and care was put into BlackBerry, so I really appreciate what it does, and I'm really happy to put it on my number 8 of the year.
Yeah, I should probably check that out because I used to have a BlackBerry. So my number 7 is going to be Barbie.
Oh, okay.
I had so much fun watching this movie. The satire was on point. It was visually very striking. The story was really good, and everything that came out of Ryan Gosling's mouth was just comedy gold. The whole obsession with horses just never fails to make me laugh.
Once I found out the patriarchy wasn't about horses, I wasn't even interested anymore.
Yes. And like my God, it had me listening to that Matchbox 20 song.
Oh my God, dude. Everything I fully agree with. That's like my favorite part. All like the manisms, like the tropes of like
Yes.
what guys
The
do and,
Godfather.
like, and just how easy they are to like manipulate. You just say one thing to them and they're just like, oh, thinking about that for the rest of the day. Like it's just so funny. It's so good and it's so relevant. You're so right.
Yes, and the satire on Mattel was really funny too. Barbie's emotional journey was really touching.
Yep. Yep.
And the sort of understanding they come to at the end was, oh, it was so good.
I'm a guy who does not usually go for giant dance numbers, and man, did it work here.
I mean, it's a good thing it wasn't a regular fight because we all know Shang-Chi would have kicked his ass. But
You're damn right. You're damn right.
it was just a very enjoyable movie that I had to watch in the front row because this was like the one movie of the year, one of two movies of the year that were just completely packed.
Yeah, no, Barbie was a fantastic time. Of course, I did Barbenheimer. Who didn't do Barbenheimer? That's the correct way to do that.
I saw both that weekend
Yeah,
on
big
different
time.
days, but I take it you didn't do Saw Patrol.
No, literally nobody did. But my number 7 is The Killer, a film that you mentioned.
Yes,
It is
number 9.
so damn good. I love, just to expand on what I was saying earlier, actually, the paradoxical nature. So you brought up the fact that you spend so long saying you got to be perfect, you got to do this, you got to do that, and then he immediately fucks up. Yes. And then he keeps saying the whole monologue like, oh, you have to, remove emotion, don't get invested. And then he spends the rest of the film getting emotionally invested and breaking all of his own rules. And I love the very end where, and I won't spoil what happens, but when he talks to that final guy and he asks what's going on and basically the indifference about that, how you realize, oh shit, literally it's all back on him, all because he broke all of his own rules, and now the rules are kind of like, kicking his ass in the end, like mentally, not physically. And wow, it's just the message of this movie is just so interesting. It's like you said, like you go in like, okay, maybe it's just like a fun kind of generic, guy killing people movie. It starts that way for like 10 minutes, and then it becomes this crazy psychological thriller, almost like comedy, like black comedy almost. It's not telling jokes, but it is funny. And I really enjoy that aspect.
I mean, he walks around in that hat for most of the movie.
Yeah.
That alone is funny. One of the things I also liked is that it did not shy away from being just a completely ruthless bastard.
Yes.
Like, he kills people he absolutely does not have to.
No, absolutely. You're 100% right. And it's that part I actually liked because that's all part of it, where it's like, oh yeah, people die statistically like more than once per second, and I'm not going to change those numbers, so who cares? And then he really cares about the ones that are directly relevant to him, even though it shouldn't. And I don't know, like it says so much without saying any dialogue, like barely. Like it's just mostly him interrogating people. And I just really appreciate. I did not expect this movie to be this high on the list, but it was damn great. And of course, it says Fincher on it. Of course, I should have known that it should have been that great. But yeah.
And just how great is it seeing Michael Fassbender in a movie again?
I know, at least one that isn't terrible. I don't know what is wrong with him. He's so talented of an actor, but he picks the worst stuff. I don't get it.
I think his last movie to release was Dark Phoenix.
In theaters? No way.
Yeah.
No, I gotta look that up. There's gotta be something else.
Because I believe he shot Next Goal Wins a while ago, but that got delayed like a few times.
I mean, I know
Which
that.
I didn't go. I didn't go see that.
I also didn't go. Is that this year? I probably should watch it relevantly.
Yeah, it was. It was in that November crunch where like everything was coming out.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. No, if anything, The Killer was before Next Goal Wins. So, yeah, Dark Phoenix 2019, Killer 2023. He took a grip just to relax and pick better roles.
He's been like doing like car racing. Like he's driven Le Mans, I think. So.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes a lot more sense.
And he also apparently has a deal with Alicia Vikander that they alternate who's doing movies when, so that someone's always with the kids.
Oh, that's sweet. What a nice guy. I guess Vikander gets to stay at home for a bit because she was popping off while he was busy.
Yeah, well, Tomb Raider 2 isn't happening anymore. The guy jumped ship and did the Meg 2.
Tomb Raider, thank you. But yeah.
Okay, Ian.
Yeah, right. I know he's infected me. I don't know what's happening. But yeah. All right. What's your number 6?
My number 6 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Love it.
What a perfect ending that was. Like addressing things that haven't been brought up in a long time, like like Peter's grandfather, going full bore into Rocket Raccoon's history as a character, that emotional roller coaster they take you on.
Oh yeah.
Like that's probably the first time ever in a Marvel movie where I was just sitting there going, "Oh, what the fuck just happened?" Like,
Yeah. Oh man,
and
it
just
makes you feel some certain emotions, man.
man, the and the High Evolutionary, one of the best fucking villains the MCU has had. Period.
Yeah, like not even just like performance wise, but like thematically for that whole film. He's just such a
Yes,
great pick.
yes, that whole idea of I love the line he has about how like God isn't there. That's why I have to do
I
this.
had to step in.
I
Yeah.
had to step in. Yes,
So good.
it's like James Gunn went, wow, I really liked working with this dude on Peacemaker. Let's give him more.
Big time. Absolutely.
And I did love the joke because throughout the whole movie, looking at him, I'm like, he looks like RoboCop without the mask on. And then Peter's like, yeah, this RoboCop looking dude.
Yeah, literally.
And like the only slight problem I have is I feel like they could have done a little bit more with Adam Warlock in the third act.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of with you.
Like it would have been cool if he had kind of like taken their side a little bit earlier and helped out. Will Poulter was very funny though.
He was great. He was so good. I can't wait to see him again. I hope they bring him back.
Just that opening shot of him flying in like Superman is just funny.
It's the best thing ever. It's like memed for a reason because it looks so dumb. But like James Gunn knows that. He's playing it for laughs. It's great. It's so funny.
Everything about it just I think this might be the best of the three.
Potentially, I mean, that first
Potentially,
one
it's
is still really like special in my heart, but like damn,
yeah, that
maybe.
that first one was a real big wake up call.
Yeah.
Just the arc that Rocket Raccoon goes on alone is fantastic. My number 6, and bring on Superman.
No, not quite. I will bring on Saltburn actually as my number 6.
Oh yeah, I
This
was almost about to see that, and then something came up.
That's fair enough. It is unexpectedly spectacular. I mean, this is Emerald Fennell's second film. I love Promising Young Woman. I think it was on my top 10. If not, it was pretty close. And I knew that, like, oh, wow, she spent all kinds of years developing this one again. So this is going to be like another heater. And the first half, I'm thinking, like, okay, this is a solid film. I don't think it's going to make my list. But then when the second half, the crazy half starts, and you get into like the thick of it, and then bodies start dropping, and then the twists, and then the bigger twists on top of those twists, it's like, whoa. So, yeah, this movie really tied itself together in a really powerful way. And final shot, someone's naked. That's all I'll say. But this is a fantastic.
The main thing I have heard is there's a whole lot of wiener.
There's a lot of ween, and it's all in it's in the end. It's in the very, very end. There's a big ween. It's not even that big, but it's a relevant story big ween is what I'm saying. But it's an average size ween. What I'm saying is it's 6 because they showed weens. No, it's a fantastic film. This is exceptional. If it's nominated for Best Picture, I will not be shocked. If it's not nominated in like practically every category, I will not be shocked, except documentary. Why would it be there? But yeah, I'm very excited, and not for nothing. And I'll just pop this in real quick. But Euphoria's own Jacob Elordi is becoming the second A-list actor with the first name Jake. Jake Gyllenhaal's been alone for a while. We need some more representation, man. Jakes need to be out there. So I'm really happy he's getting his chance.
Jake Sully.
Jake Sully's a character, not a guy.
Yes.
Sam, freaking tons of Sams in Hollywood, Worthington is playing him, so who cares? But yeah. Okay, that was my number 6. What is your number 5?
My number 5 is The Holdovers.
Ah.
This is one where I just saw the trailer. It intrigued me. Alexander Payne, I know I've not seen everything he's done, but he directed About Schmidt, which is really good.
I think I've seen none of his stuff. I think I looked it up.
He co-wrote Jurassic Park 3.
Oh, okay. I've seen one thing he co-wrote.
I don't know. I want to assume he wrote the Ellen.
I was about to ask. Do you know if he wrote Alan? That's the one thing that matters from that film.
I do not know because there's not enough drafts of that out there.
Damn.
But no, The Holdovers. I was watching it. It just looked like it was going to be like a very kind of enjoyable movie, kind of funny. And watching it, it was really good. It was funny, and once it kind of settled into its groove, because it looks like it's going to be one thing. It's going to be about Paul Giamatti and like this group of kids, but then the cast kind of gets thinned out by the end.
Yep.
By like the midpoint, and it just becomes about these 3 characters and their interactions. It's so good.
That is a risky move because that can lead to like, oh, well, why did you develop them if we're not going to see anymore? But I think that was actually something that paid off for like the benefit of what happened.
Yeah, for sure. Because it set up all the personalities, and then having to put these two, specifically him and the main student, putting them alone together, it sort of, helped focus the film.
Yeah, big time. I agree completely.
And just the way that relationship develops across the film, it's just so heartwarming, and it's a feel good movie, really. Even though the ending is a little bittersweet, I think it's the perfect ending for Paul Giamatti's character.
Yep.
And just him and Dominic Sessa as the main kid is, for a guy who was in nothing,
Literally nothing.
it's fantastic. It's a fantastic way to start.
I don't know if you could have done better, like as a beginning.
Nope.
And like now we're talking about him like, yeah, I can't wait to see what he does next, as if he's done anything prior.
Yep. And like Paul Giamatti, man, it's been forever since I've seen him in a lead role in anything, and he's great.
All right, well, that was your number 5. Then I'll just go with my number 5, which is, of course, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. I fucking love this movie.
It's great.
So good, man. I mean, come on. There's no reason that, like, seriously, the Mission Impossible series has no fucking business being this good at the 5th, 6th, 7th installment. Like, very few film series can get that far and have this level of quality. Like, goddamn. And it's consistent, too. Like, literally, like you said, aside from 2, consistency, baby. They're so strong. And they just build and build and build on each other, but they're also standalone, which is kind of great. The fact that they're backwards compatible like that, I virtually have no fucking criticism. It's just so good. Everything's on point, like the directing, the acting, the stunt work. Not even the big stunt. The big stunt's amazing, where he drives off the thing and they put it in the trailer. The fact that that's Tom Cruise like risking his entire life for a movie, that's like mad respect right there. But then also, in my opinion, the more impressive stunt work is the driving scene with the little Ford Fiat, and they're racing away from the tank or whatever.
The comedy car chase.
Oh my god, and like you said, comedy. It's the perfect blend of like comedy versus actual tension and stakes, and they balance these like conflicting tones really well. And that's really hard for like really any movie with crazy action scenes to do and like pull off, and not in a way where it's like, oh, well, now it's all a joke, so I'm divested. No, I'm very invested. Oh man. So the only reason that this is on here, if it concluded, maybe it'd be even higher, but like, whatever. But at the same time, what this movie has over Spider-Verse, and I will talk about Spider-Verse soon, which tells you what I think about Spider-Verse, but the one thing I will say that this, in terms of being better than Spider-Verse in a certain aspect, is the ending. Yes, it's open to a sequel, but I think the ending is somewhat conclusive, because the whole point of the fucking movie is getting that key out of that bad guy's hands, So the fact that it ends that way, and they show that and reveal where that is, and they say, hey, after all this, something paid off. You got something out of this 2.5-hour experience, as opposed to how Spider-Verse ends, where it's just like, whoa, now we're stuck in this crazy situation with no resolution. Like, that is a big difference for me. I'll just spoil it right now. Spider-Verse is my next one. I think it's better than Mission Impossible. That's because it compensates with pure quality. So,
yes,
whatever. But no, I think that's something that Mission Impossible has a leg up on Spider-Verse for, that one specific aspect.
One thing I also think is pretty cool is how they're bringing back like stuff from the very first movie. This is like one of only 2 bosses that Ethan has had that has been in more than one movie.
Yeah, big time.
Him, this guy, and Alec Baldwin.
I know. I'm so glad he's coming back. And did you see that freaking, what's his name? Rolf Saxon is coming back?
Yes, the coffee guy.
Yeah, the coffee guy that they screwed over. And I rewatched all the movies recently, but
they sent to Alaska, so he's going to help them find the submarine.
Just ship him his clothes. Like, dude, if they don't pick that up with him actually being in Alaska for the past 20 years, that's the whole point of why you did that.
That's what they're going to do, because the submarine's in the Bering Sea.
You're damn right. Oh, that's going to be so fun. Oh, it's going to be so cool. So I can't wait. I actually can't wait. This is like one of my most anticipated to next year.
And so my number 4 is going to be Killers of the Flower Moon. This is a movie where I wasn't thinking it was fantastic while I was watching it, because it's a lot to take in.
It sure is.
But it's a movie where just ever since I've seen it, it's been kicking around in the back of my head thinking about it. What really gets me in this movie is, first of all, De Niro is scary as shit without being like overly so.
Yep.
Overtly so. Like, it's a very like it's just chilling how normal he is in juxtaposition of like all the stuff he's doing and ordering.
Yep.
And Leo's character, this has been going back and forth in my head, is because he's such an interesting like contradiction. He's this horrible, horrible person. He's kind of an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
And despite all the things he does, when he says he loves his wife, I kind of believe it.
Yeah,
That's what's so fucked up about it.
I don't even think he knows what he is. Like, he's so conflicted in that way. I think one of the best parts of that movie is close to the very end where he kind of like confesses everything to her, but she asks him one thing, "What were you giving me?" And he just said, "Oh, it's just insulin." And that was the breaking point. I think that really solidifies to me, like, oh yeah, no, he's placed his bets on the wrong game here, because I feel like maybe had he been honest about that one aspect, she could have like forgiven all this crazy shit.
Yes.
Maybe to an extent.
Yeah, it looked like they were on the verge of reconciliation until it's almost like he's in denial about it.
Yeah, like, oh, I couldn't possibly be the guy that did it wrong. It was all him, haha. Because he doesn't want to think of himself as the bad guy. Oh man, it's really interesting. It's a great character study.
Also, a great continuation of the Brendan Sons.
It sure is. I did not expect him to show up in that film.
I had read he was in it, but I had forgotten. So when he showed up, I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. But yeah, that is your number
No,
4?
4.
Okay. I keep losing the place. My number 4, I already told the world, is Spider-Verse. Yeah, no, it's brilliant. The only problem I have is the ending. I've already talked about it ad nauseum, so I'll kind of be brief here. But
I
like,
have too.
it's brilliant. It's a damn near masterpiece, and I'm so mad that both this and the Mission Impossible sequel are both delayed to 2020 fucking 5.
Fuck.
I couldn't put either of them on the top anticipated of next year because it's not even true.
God damn.
They would probably be like 1 and 2 in some order. God damn it. But whatever. Yeah, no, I'll just move on. But yeah, love this movie. Literally nothing wrong with it except the ending.
Yeah. My number 3, this is going to be an outlier here, is Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves.
Wow.
This movie was so purely entertaining.
I mean, it's great, but I didn't think it was like your number 3 or anything like that.
Yeah, it's my number 3. It was my number 1 for a little while.
Oh, wow, okay.
But that was like earlier stuff. It gets compared to Guardians of the Galaxy, but it does it perfectly. And I don't really know. I know like a smidgen of stuff about D&D, but it works either way.
It does.
The comedy is just so on point. Chris Pine is just great at taking the piss out of himself.
He is.
The whole illusion he does that just starts falling apart was the hardest I've been laughing in the theater at that point in the year.
Yep. Big time.
Yeah, it was very much worth the time. I mean it would be cool if it got a sequel, but even if it doesn't, ends perfectly.
I really hope, because they subtitled it, so I assume they're going to do more with different subtitles, so hopefully they make more. I would really be interested.
I think they subtitled it to separate it from the 2000 movie.
They never care about that. How many Screams are there? How many Halloweens are there? But, all right.
There's Halloween, and Halloween.
The perfect trilogy of films that don't
Scream
connect.
Scream,
Scream.
which do connect.
That is true. Yeah, my number 3 is Missing. This is
I did see this. I liked it. It wasn't that high on my list, but I liked it.
I think it's brilliant. This is my favorite movie like this. This found footage, Screen Life, I think is what it's called, where it's all from screens.
Better than Searching?
Yes, and I love Searching. This is pitch perfect. I literally have like no criticism. This 3, 2, and 1 are all like near 10s. 1 is a masterpiece, and we'll get there. But the way the twists all unfolds via the use of technology, maybe it's because I'm like, growing up in this era, but like every single thing or application or device or like feature that was used, I was like, yeah, okay, that would make sense. If you hover over your mouse like this, it'll reveal the contact from that phone number, which is a plot twist in this film. Like everything that happens is just like, yeah, that would do that. Yep, that makes sense. Yep, that tracks. Yep, like every single thing. Literally nothing was like you watch any movie now that doesn't do like Screen Life or whatever, and it's just, a normal film, like people talking in a drama, shot, reverse shot, and they fucking make a call on an iPhone and the screen is lit up. And when you make a call on any smartphone, not even just iPhones, the screen doesn't stay lit up when you bring it up to your face. But because they're screen replacing it because of the footage, because screens look weird on camera, it's frustrating, like how they get like little details wrong. Like that is not how any device works. Or like the texting in Peacemaker, which is just,
I was just thinking that.
Oh my god, when she's moving her thumbs in like a random like Bugs Bunny cartoon way, that stuff really gets me. And the fact that Missing just goddamn nails everything is just, for the entire runtime, when it's doing is just being on devices. To me, that's wildly impressive. And you made a great movie on top of that. So yeah, it's number 3 of the year. It's fantastic.
Not bad for a January movie.
No, not at all. Well, January is where horror and bad movies live. So this is the first one, not the second one.
Yeah, unfortunately. My number two is Godzilla minus one.
Oh, baby.
This came out of nowhere because I knew there was another one coming. And so there's really two kinds of Godzilla movies. You have the really fun monster fighting action kind of movie, which can be schlocky and kind of dumb, but can still be entertaining. And you also have the serious, thoughtful Godzilla movies. And usually the way it goes is they'll start a new series with like a really thoughtful one. It will just become the silly stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like that happened with the original series, happened with the 80s and 90s one. It's happened with MonsterVerse.
I agree. It's completely happening with MonsterVerse. I'm happy for it. It's better now.
And so this one is one of the latter. It's the serious, thoughtful movie. And I had heard it was good, but man, this just kind of grabbed you by the balls and was like, gets you super fucking invested into like the main character and his struggles and like his kind of found family situation and like there's so many like emotional high points in this movie. I was just on the edge of my seat going, oh.
Yeah, right.
And then the Godzilla scenes are all really good, specifically the one where he's chasing the minesweeper boat.
Yes, that's probably my favorite scene in the movie. It's so good.
Yes, and I love the airplane stuff at the end. That was all really cool.
Or another scene that's fantastic is when he does the nuclear breath for the first time.
Yes, that's been a trend in the Japanese movies where like it just becomes super fucking destructive.
Yep.
Because like Shin Godzilla did that where he was like shooting lasers out of his ass too.
Do you think in the next reboot, just the whole continent is just gonna launch off of Earth with one breath? But yeah, no, the fact that they mimicked the actual explosion of a nuke is so cool.
Yes, they've done that like briefly in one of the other ones, but they didn't really like stick with it like this one did.
Yep.
And just oh my god, in the ending, I was practically in tears of joy with like the happy ending of the movie.
Yes. Audience, be aware. It's not on my list, not on my top 10. Godzilla Minus One is awesome. It is an amazing film. Sorry,
Yes,
let's
see
not
it.
confuse that.
It's doing extremely well to the point they're submitting it for Oscars across the board.
Good. You're damn right. That is what should happen.
It's been shortlisted for best visual effects so far.
Honestly, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's up there. The only thing that it's kneecapping it Oscar-wise is the fact that it came out too late to be submitted for Best International.
That makes sense, but that's okay because Past Lives will win.
I have not seen Past Lives. I saw the trailer like 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
But no, Godzilla minus one. This whole new era of Godzilla is really strange because we have 2 really serious movies bookending a really strange and kind of boring anime trilogy. Let's see. I'm curious as to what the hell else they're going to do next in this weird like experimental phase at Toho.
I like the idea that it's like Batman. You just have like different versions running concurrently, and they don't really cross over or conflict. You can just do whatever you want. That's really cool to me.
Yep, we got MonsterVerse continuing next year, which looks ridiculous but fun.
Yes, which is just what that series should be. I can't be anything else other than honest here. John Wick Chapter 4 is fucking amazing. Like,
oh, it's great.
It's so good. Whenever people ask me what my favorite John Wick is, I never know the answer because 2
minus 2.
Yeah, minus 2. 2 is I thought you were saying Godzilla minus 2.
No, I said mine is 2.
John Wick 2 is brilliant. John Wick 3 is brilliant for different reasons, and now Chapter 4 solidifies itself as the next brilliant for different reasons one. They all do slightly different things in like John's life of this weird action criminal who just kills everyone around him. Every time that gets like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sequels, it always goes downhill. And John Wick...
And goes direct to video.
It goes direct to video. It shits itself. And John Wick refuses to stupid quality. It just it maintains the bar. The bar is fucking sky high, and they will not let it down. It is... Oh, man. I hesitate to use the word masterpiece because it's not really like, saying something. There's not like a message here, but that's an arbitrary description of what a masterpiece should have. It's just, is it hitting you in a certain way? And it fucking hits. Every hit hits. It is so fun. It is so exciting. The pacing is perfect. The writing is perfect. The way the choreography is executed, whether it's camera angles, whether it's actual stuntmen throwing each other through fucking walls for 3 hours or whatever the fuck, it's amazing. You can't beat it. It's literally like unbeatable in terms of like an action film series. It's like, how has it stayed this good? And even like little details, like the sword fight between Donnie Yen and what is it? Ken Watanabe is the other guy. They're
Hiroyuki Sanada.
Hiroyuki Sanada. That's the one name I meant to say. But their sword fight on the bridge was like this microcosm. Didn't have to be in the film. Still brilliant. Still furthers their character arcs, mostly the Donnie Yen's. And obviously with his daughter, who watched it, was forced to watch it the whole time. Even these like little details, like they throw in an action scene, and sometimes it is just an action scene, but even those have like character reasons for happening, story reasons for happening. They progress in some way forward. It's not action for the sake of action until the very end where it is, and it's the best thing ever because you earned it, because you got there. And
Yeah, you get the explosive shotgun rounds.
yes, oh my God, I was about to say the top-down view like a video game. Get the fuck out, man. Like, come on. It's just, God damn, how do you not watch this film and go 10? Like, instinctively. As soon as it starts, don't even watch the rest. But yeah.
I liked it. I thought the action was really good. I thought the runtime was pushing it just a little bit.
You take that back. You're no longer my friend.
Just a little bit. And the ending kind of left me a little cold.
I'm hanging up on this phone call. I refuse. I refuse to talk to you.
I'm like, I hope they don't leave it there, because like,
no way. I mean, they got like 100 spin-offs coming, so who cares?
yeah, they got Ballerina. My number one is Oppenheimer, baby.
Ah, yeah, okay.
I got the two Nuke movies right at the top.
Back to back. That is oddly true.
Now, I just found it to be just a really engaging, intriguing character exploration. Really good sound design in the Nolan movie, which might surprise some people. That whole scene with the people stomping their feet in the auditorium and him kind of freaking out, so good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I thought the way it was structured actually worked out really well. And that just ending conversation with Einstein, it just tied it off perfectly. If there's anything I find kind of dumb about it, it's they work in the famous line.
Yeah, in the context.
While Florence Pugh inserts his dick.
Yep, big time.
It's like okay.
Yep, right there. But
like Nolan does a sex scene, and of course it's weird.
Of course. Well, you got to make it thematically on point. There's no way you can't. But yeah, no, the auditorium scene might be my favorite part of that movie. And I have a lot of favorite parts of that movie. I think it's amazing. It's weird. It'd be like 16th on my top 15. It's just outside. I love Oppenheimer so much. My criticism is more about the runtime. I feel like it's similar to Killers of the Flower Moon for me.
I didn't notice the runtime when I was watching it.
Well, it's more like the structure and all of these scenes, not all of them are necessarily like relevant in my mind. I mean, again, I'm not doing it better than Nolan. Let do Nolan. But like, I don't, I'm just a dude. But for me, I can only speak to my experience. I didn't see all 3 hours as like the most necessary or compelling in my mind.
That's fine. I mean, I was just glad I could understand what the hell was going on after Tenet.
Oh yeah. It's just verbally, just nothing. The sound design it's not just good, it's spectacular sound design actually for this one.
This huge cast of like named people in tiny roles.
Yeah, I know. I just wish there were more famous people in Oppenheimer. There just weren't enough. No, my number one is a movie that I stealth mentioned a few picks ago, Past Lives. This movie is 10 out of 10. It is a masterpiece. I usually have to watch a movie like more than once before I like say it's one of my favorites, but like as soon as it ended, I was like, oh, this is on my all-time list. This is getting there. I have been, maybe I'm biased because I've been in similar situations in the past, lives of these characters, in my own life. It's a very relevant tale. That ending, the unbroken ending shot that lasts like 3, 4, 5 minutes long. There's like barely any dialogue. There's some at like the first half, but then it's just people. And they're just standing and looking at each other, and their actions say so much based on the entire film that you just watched. And it is so sad. And the worst part is nobody did anything wrong. There's 3 main people. There's 2 main, and there's that third guy. No one did anything wrong. And yet all 3 of them feel this immense sadness because of each other. And I feel so fucking bad for all 3 of them. And it's such a powerful tale. It takes its premise and its point, and it executes it to perfection. Better than any movie has executed a point more this year. It is so powerful. If anybody hasn't seen it and they're planning, oh yeah, maybe I'll watch it for my top whatever list at the end of the year, just watch it because it's a great movie. Like, genuinely. I hope it better win international, let alone get nominated, man. Like, if this doesn't take it, nothing will. I'm so mad. But yeah. This is the best movie in the past couple of years for me.
All right, then. Yeah, I remember seeing the trailer for it, and I just don't remember it coming out.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was like this kind of indie, international film. It didn't really like hit the blockbuster level charts,
Yeah.
But it's a masterpiece. You got to watch it.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
But yeah,
That's it.
that ends the amazing top 10 video. Jesus Christ, it's been an hour. I feel like this always happens with us. We're like, oh yeah, let's just do a quick little video, and then it becomes this massive discussion.
And I wasn't even trying to make it a massive discussion.
I know, you bastard. Well, we both kind of contribute.
You son of a bitch.
Damn right. But catch you guys next week for another video, and next year for the same thing. And I'm so excited for the Oscars on March 10th because that's daylight saving, so my clock's all turned back.
Are we going to do that again?
Yeah. Well, I don't change my clock, so this is the half of the year where they're just wrong. So they're going to be right on March 10th on the Oscars. So, but yeah. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.